Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Claire, your English teacher. I'm a native speaker from the United States, and I'm here to help you speak more naturally and feel confident in English. In today's video, I'll be answering a question that I get asked a lot across my social media. How do I stop translating English in my head from my native language? I know this is a problem for a lot of language learners, and it's something I've experienced myself. I've been living in Germany for about 6 years now, and I've had to train my brain to think in German. Initially, I couldn't help but translate German back into English in my mind. It broke up the flow of communication, and honestly, it slowed me down when I was speaking. Over time, I learned to think in German and not rely on English at all. It's a process, and I understand how frustrating it can be. When I try to speak Italian now, I sometimes accidentally use a German word instead of an English one, simply because my brain is so used to thinking in German. It's like a foreign language reflex, it's automatic. So, in today's video, I'm sharing the techniques I use to stop translating from my native language. These methods have helped me, and I'm confident they can help you too. This topic was actually voted on by my channel members, so if you want to participate in future video topic polls, make sure to click the join button below and join our awesome community of English learners. Before we get into the techniques, I want you to take a moment and think about your reasons for learning English. Why do you want to improve your English? What are your specific goals? This video is coming out in early 2025. And this time of year is often when people reflect on their past year and set new goals. Take a minute to set a goal for your English learning. Whether it's improving fluency, understanding native speakers better, or feeling more confident when speaking, keeping that goal in mind will motivate you to stay on track and be consistent in your learning. Now, let's dive into the first technique that will help you stop translating in your head. The first thing you need to do is stop looking up English words in your native language. It's tempting, I know. But here's the problem. When you translate directly, your brain goes back to your native language, and that creates a disconnect. Instead, try looking up the word's definition in English. When you do this, you keep your brain immersed in the target language, and that helps it think more naturally in English. For example, let's say you're learning the word excited. If you look it up in your native language, you might see a simple translation like fellas or entusiasta. But if you look it up in English, you might see feeling very happy and enthusiastic, and this gives you synonyms like joyful or thrilled. By seeing multiple words in English, you're reinforcing the new word and making it stick better in your memory. This technique also helps you build a stronger vocabulary in English. You're not just learning a word, you're learning how to describe it in English, which makes your brain more flexible in how it uses the word. Next, I recommend labeling things around your home in English. You can use sticky notes on things like your mirror, refrigerator, desk, or even light switches. By labeling common objects in your environment, you'll constantly be seeing the English words for them. Every time you look at a label, your brain is being reminded of that English word. You're training your brain to think in English without even realizing it. And the best part? You don't need to make extra time for this, just do it as part of your normal day. You'll start thinking in English because English words will be surrounding you. Another helpful technique is to start narrating your actions in English. This is a great way to practice thinking in English during the day. For example, when you're at home and doing something as simple as opening the fridge, you can say out loud, "I'm opening the fridge to grab some milk." At first, this might feel a little silly, but it's actually really effective. By describing what you're doing, you're practicing English in real time, which helps your brain start thinking in English more naturally. Another powerful technique to stop translating is to give your brain so much information that it doesn't have time to stop and translate. One way to do this is by listening to an audiobook while reading the text at the same time. This might seem simple, but it's an effective way to train your brain to process information in English quickly. As you listen to the audiobook, you're processing both the spoken and written forms of English. This forces your brain to stay in English and stop trying to translate every word. It trains your brain to absorb English in context, rather than breaking things down into individual translations. Now, let's talk about shadowing. This is a technique I've mentioned before on my channel, and it's one of the best ways to train your brain to think in English. Shadowing simply means listening to a native speaker and immediately repeating what they say. You want to mimic their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This forces you to stay in the moment and practice English in a real, natural way. You can use podcasts, YouTube videos, or audiobooks for this technique. It might feel repetitive or even boring sometimes, but it's incredibly effective. When you shadow a native speaker, you're not just focusing on individual words, you're practicing how to speak naturally in English. Your brain gets better at processing the language in a flow, rather than stopping to translate. This is key for becoming more fluent in English. Finally, the most important way to stop translating is by practicing speaking. It's easy to say, I don't have anyone to practice with, but the truth is, you can find ways to practice speaking even if you're not in an English-speaking environment. Even if you make mistakes, it's important to speak as much as possible. You see, when you're actually speaking with someone in real time, there's no time to translate in your head. You have to respond in the moment, using the vocabulary you already know. And that's the beauty of conversation. It forces you to think on your feet. You might not understand everything that the other person says, and that's okay. As long as you can get the main point across, your brain will learn to use what it knows to keep the conversation going. If you're thinking, that sounds great, but I don't have anyone to speak with, don't worry, there are tools to help you. I've linked Speak Duo in the description below. It's a platform where you can meet other English learners and native speakers for free speaking practice. It's a fantastic opportunity to practice speaking in a safe, supportive environment. You can use my code below to get a discount on their paid plans. I host a session there every week, so you can even join me live for some extra practice. Speaking with others in real time is one of the best ways to become more confident and fluent in English. You'll practice speaking, listening, and understanding in a way that translates directly to real-life situations. And since Speak Duo is free to try, why not take advantage of it? Here's a bonus tip. Change the language settings on your phone and social media to English. This simple action will integrate English into your daily life. As you check your notifications or scroll through social media, you'll be constantly exposed to English. Over time, this exposure will make it easier for you to think in English automatically. It's a subtle but powerful way to improve your English without even realizing it. Thank you so much for watching. If you found these tips helpful, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson. I love making these videos for you, and your support helps me keep going. If you want to access exclusive perks and support the work I do, click the join button below to become a member of our community. Let me know in the comments what your English goals are for 2025. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. Till next time, bye.